Good evening, everybody. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast. It's on a Monday. Must mean it's time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. James, how are you doing on this evening? I don't know. Weather is all over the place. I don't even know what it is anymore in Atlanta.
Uh, I know it's true. It's like usually a safe space to go and talk about weather in our regions, but yeah, it is all over the place. I totally agree with you. I see it for myself over here too, but it's been more chill over here in LA's side of things. Yeah, I'm doing just great. Anybody who's watching, welcome to our stream. This is where we hang out and I doodle and animate while Eric and I talk about pop culture stuff and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
games and stuff like that while we juggle different kinds of things going on at the same time.
So
Um,
what are we working on tonight, James?
Let us see here. I will share screen, share, and I am on shot 16. I've kind of gone backwards. If anybody's been watching since last week, we were kind of going forwards for a while, but I'm revisiting this shot
Mm-hmm.
to where Calamity is riding Tinsel and they're hurtling towards Dry Gulp Gorge.
Okay.
And then she notices something off screen that catches her attention. Um, so that's where we're at right now, and we have some assets to work with. So I have some warhogs here that are moving up and down that we've already kind of established in other shots. So I'll be using that as kind of a baseline, but I'll be trying to draw Calamity from this rear view, and we'll see where I get tonight
That's
for shot
fantastic.
16.
Well, one of our viewers just indicated that the weather in Pennsylvania is freezing one moment and windy to the point of the Sahara Desert the next moment. So
Oh man,
yeah, it's
yeah,
it's
that's
not
not fun either.
not like that here. It's just 80 degrees one day, 60 degrees the next day. So it's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the best at weather forecasting, but I mean, I've been in weather patterns like that before. I don't know if anybody who's ever watched the stream or anything has been to Lubbock, Texas, but boy, that weather can change on a dime too. And where it's all of a sudden it's super cold and you have your shorts on and shirt, just a workout shirt, and all of a sudden you need to get your hoodie and sweatpants. I feel for Pennsylvanians that are dealing with the up and down weather, the roller
Yeah,
coaster weather. That
yeah.
sucks in some ways. Unless you like living with adrenaline and
I mean, when I was in Ireland a couple of weeks ago, it was sort of the same thing. It was just all over the place. You'd have to dress in layers because sometimes it would be freezing cold, and then the sun would come out and it'd jump up 20 degrees, and so you were all over the
oh
place.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Um,
yeah. So that's the same deal.
yeah.
Um,
Apparently, for our viewer, it's 10 below right now. For
oh
yeah, so
man,
they're in many many layers that are probably not coming off for the time being.
yeah. Um, Not fun, not fun at all. Um, but I tell you something that is fun.
Mm,
Um, with my awkward transition,
yeah,
um,
good
going
awkward
into,
transition.
I have dusted off Arkham Asylum.
Mm,
Return to, I don't know why they call it this. They call it Return to Arkham Asylum, and the same thing with Arkham City. But anyways, I'm playing it on my PS5, but I guess it was released for the PS4, but it's not a remastered version or something.
mm.
I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe you could shed some light on that, Eric. But I'm playing that, and I just installed the Dolby Surround system, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I get to hear Mark Hamill's Joker behind me, and
Right.
it's really cool. I'm kind
Yeah.
of nerding out, I'm kind of geeking out. I know you, as a sound guy, you know what I'm kind of geeking out about
Oh
when
yeah.
it comes to
No,
that stuff.
I've been a big surround sound guy for many a year now, and I have the a nice like 5.1 setup. I'm using only mini satellites right now. I'm not using a full size speakers. But they're good. Yamaha's the brand that I use. But yeah, I mean we talked about this in the past, how one thing that games does better than basically any other filmed or visual entertainment medium is audio. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that has to do with the fact that the game doesn't know what the player is going to do. And for a game that has a free camera, you basically have to build the audio in the 3D world like you would in a real world. And as a result, yeah, when you're playing things like Arkham Asylum or Arkham City and the Joker is laughing maniacally on you at a TV behind you, if you've got your surround sound set up properly, you hear the Joker laughing behind you, and it's really cool. I really love
It
that.
is so cool, I gotta
Mm-hmm.
say. So obviously the next best thing if you have Plan B is just to get a nice headset. And I never
Mm-hmm.
understood this with gamers, like they want to play with headsets. Now I'm starting to understand a little bit more. I mean, I did do it with God of War 2018, whatever year it was when they did the Cory
Mm-hmm.
Balrog version of it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. That was all, I think I was trying to sell you on that one as being the best sound design game I've played in years. But I'm sure there's other gems out there that have done it that have that put some TLC with their sound, and Arkham is definitely one of them too. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So have you our viewers asking if you know anything about Absolute Batman and
I've
the Joker in Absolute Batman?
I I've only seen snippets of Absolute Batman in comic book form and stuff like that. I know of it. I'm assuming it's another. I don't know if it's considered an Elseworlds branch off of Batman and like their own new return, like almost like what they did. When was it? When they did the New 52 and they
Yeah.
kind of rebooted everything.
Yeah.
Now they've done another reboot, but now this is with the absolute versions of characters like Green Lantern, I'm assuming. But I haven't had a chance to really. People rave about Absolute Batman. I've been
Mm-hmm.
seeing that, but I have no idea what's going on with Absolute Batman. I'm not sure about you.
I
If you've had
no,
a chance to look at
I'll
it.
be honest. I mean, like that's the one thing that we haven't done in quite a long time, or I haven't done in quite a long time. I can't speak for James. I've kind of fallen out with comics, but I did just Google Absolute Joker, and so it's yeah, right. It's a demon, right? That's what our viewer just said, that Joker is a demon who actually looks like a demon in Absolute Batman, which is kind of wild. I guess I need to know more context to know why they did that. But it's definitely an interesting take. I mean, I know that the New 52 Batman was pretty bizarre as well. I get the sense that DC is trying experimenting with a lot of their characters to see if they can push the boundaries of them in different directions. Um, since
So
these stories have been around for approaching 100 years, 80 years at the very
yeah,
least.
yeah.
How many stories can you tell with the characters are static like that? So it's interesting to see them take a different direction with it. But I admit I don't really read comics much anymore, so I don't really have a point of view on it.
Yeah, it's like Eric has become jaded with the even more corporatization of
Yeah, yeah,
comic books thanks to Hollywood studios. I still enjoy them. I'm still kind of, but I kind of save my I don't want to have Eric's eyes glaze over. I don't want your eyes to glaze over when I
oh
talk
yeah,
about
go for it, go
Doctor
for it.
Doom theories and MCU. You're not going to revisit any MCU movie from here on out, pretty much, right? Deadpool and Wolverine was your last one,
I
would you
think,
say? Or
yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, I saw Fantastic Four
okay,
and Thunderbolts, but I didn't go on my own. I mean, my philosophy or my policy is, if someone says, "Hey, let's go see a movie," I'll say yes,
mm-hmm,
regardless of what the movie is. And so, I saw Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four because friends wanted to see it, but it's not, I don't know, superhero movies, particularly Marvel movies, just really don't move the needle much for me anymore.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
so, yeah. So apparently, in the
So
Absolute universe, Batman is friends with the Penguin and Riddler
what?
and Two Face and all the other
Wow,
villains before they became bad
blasphemy.
guys. Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, all
and
right.
and then the Joker, or no, Bane of this universe, turned everyone into villains. So
Okay.
it's like it's sort of like a I don't know, a frenemies situation, I guess. They're all Batman, maybe, I guess. I don't know the storyline for Absolute Batman and what that turn means for everybody, but it's definitely a different take on the characters. It seems like they're,
Well,
based on what our viewer is describing, it seems like they've completely gone back to the drawing board on
wow.
the narratives of these characters.
So here's okay. Here's one thing I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do a take on. This
Okay.
actually can be more holistic to the Batman family of villains and all that stuff. But this is you know, my issue with Bane, and now he's what, about 30 years old now in real years.
Yeah,
Man,
it was
that
in the
guy,
'90s, right? Yeah.
yeah. So that guy, I like Bane. I think he's a great villain, but and it also makes sense, especially now. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's aged a little bit like wine, not as much as Riddler or Joker, mind
Mm.
you, but to have him kind of soar to the higher rankings of being such a responsible, like a villain that's really cataclysmic to Batman's world, he sort of used steroids and cheated his way to the top on the villain board when he broke his back in the 90s, right?
Sure.
And now Bane automatically will get that kind of I'm not sure how I feel about that. I always feel like I want the seniority to go. Like Joker always gets number one, but we know he'll I get why people think he's long in the tooth. You don't want to always go with Joker, but Riddler's a great one. Penguin got his own show, so I can't complain about Penguin too much. But Bane, like he's the one that cheated. He roided out. He got his venom, and he broke Batman's back. And now he's one of the worst villains. He's up there. He's right there with Joker. No, he can't be. But he got the third one in the Dark Knight trilogy. Come on, he couldn't have given it to And Riddler got it in the next one, the Batman, the Reeves version.
Sure.
I'm just kind of going on a rant. Sorry, I was.
No, no, no.
I'm curious about your take on this. Like where Bane fits, because this actually, I'm going loco now.
Go on
this,
it. Go
this
on
is
it.
where it goes. This goes crossover to Captain America. Steroid his way to heroism.
Right.
See how I do this, Eric?
Right.
See how I do this to you?
Yeah, yeah.
I always so yeah. Anyway, now I'll shut up.
No, it's fine.
I just want to see what you say.
For new viewers, James has an irrational hatred of any
Irrational.
any hero or villain who got their powers through a serum of some sort. Whether it's Venom or the Super Soldier Serum or whatever. If you've taken a serum at any point in your life, so little does anybody know, James is actually a drug warrior, and
Yeah.
he's really big into the dare
Oh,
scene,
man.
and really just
Jeez.
it's he just doesn't like the glorification of steroids more than anything else.
Narc is the best arcade game ever. Yes,
Narc's a pretty good game.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, this is a complete aside, but did you know that and I'm just learning this, Ed Boon, one of the creators of Mortal Kombat, he worked on Narc. That was his first video game.
That explains a lot, because I don't know if you remember, but I'm sure as a kid you saw in the arcade, that was for a hot minute the most violent, bloodiest game out there for about 5 minutes.
And it was
that totally makes sense.
And it was so I can't remember if it was so our viewer is 14 and they don't like any medicines unless it's for something important.
Yeah, see, I'm with you on that one.
That's fair. But I know that with oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
I'll help you. I'll help you a little bit. I'll do a little bit of course correction here.
Okay.
So I don't like superheroes that take super serum. But if it's a villain, of course, it's a villainous act. You can take a venom and you get to be a bad guy. So that's the thing. And that's where I always have so Captain America is, for me, as a fanboy, I shake my fist at him. But Bane, okay, makes sense. You're a villain. You get to do that, like, but anyways, now I'm going back, but I am curious what you think, like how he rose to the ranks as one of the top villains. And by today's standards, it's great. Like if you're younger and you're enjoying Batman, you get to introduce to Bane. This is terrific for them because they get to see it fresh, especially with an absolute version of Batman. I totally understand that. I only have my lens of old curmudgeon that sees it from a different way, but I do like to live vicariously through people and see, okay, this is a new fresh take. That's cool. And Bane can get it, I guess. But that's my little bias that I have towards Bane. But I don't know where you're at with Bane, or even if you even care at all. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bane for me was always just a tool to mix things up in the Batman world. I mean, he had gotten so overwhelmingly successful at defeating his rogues galleries that it was kind of silly, the idea that after all of this time, after all of these arch villains, arch rivals, that Batman had never been taken down. and
Hmm.
I think that they just wanted an entirely new variable to kind of flip the table a little bit, and so I think that that's where Bane came from more than anything else. Um,
Hmm.
but I do also think that uh, they have done some interesting things with the character, especially as they've developed his backstory. And at least
Uh huh.
with Nolan's movie, he didn't. There was no super serum or anything like that, right? So he wasn't.
Yeah, I
He
don't think
wasn't.
so, right?
He wasn't affected by any sort of technology or chemical enhancer or anything along those lines.
Yeah. So you're it sounds like you're kind of neutral. You don't really hate Bane. You're right down the middle.
He's not my favorite. He's not my least favorite. There's plenty of weird characters that Batman has that I like less than Bane. And they've
Hmm.
done a few interesting storylines with him, so I guess I can't complain too much.
So here's the other thing. Now, I don't know how many. I haven't kept track with Batman. It's been a long time since I've read the comic books. Again, Absolute Batman being the newest iteration. But as far as villains are concerned, there has been no relatively new villains gallery except for Hush, I think. But there
Right.
might have been one or two outside of that.
Yeah.
My other issue, and I think this is just about the writer's ego. I don't know for sure. Um, but it feels like when a new villain is introduced into Batman's world, they're no longer like kind of like almost like kind of childish or kind of silly, like Riddler was or somebody else. They always have to have some you know amazing impact on Batman's life right off the bat, right at the get go. They don't get you don't even again you're taking the serum to just become a high, you need to be as high as Riddler, high as Penguin, but those guys kind of developed over time, and that's what makes them such iconic villains. Whereas Hush has none of that track record to do that, and Bane is sort of developing it, but he's not as cool as Penguin or Riddler or Catwoman
I
because
mean,
of the history.
yeah, I mean, Hush is a classic example of a character from the Rogues Gallery that I just think is awful.
Oh, you
Um,
don't like him? Okay,
no,
I
I think
think you were
I
the
think
one that got
he's.
me into him.
Oh no,
I mean,
I
as
mean,
far
I've never. I think
as reading him,
I might
as reading
have
him.
referenced Hush once or
Okay,
twice, and it was a big popular storyline that people really liked. I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
care
yeah.
for it though. For exactly the reason that you're talking about. He just felt kind of forced into the universe. We've retconned it so that Bruce Wayne now has a childhood friend, right?
Yeah.
A
Mm-hmm.
character that we've not known about for God knows how many years, that Bruce has never talked about in God knows how many years. Even though
Yeah,
they've
yeah, yeah.
theoretically been very, were very close at one point. And I
Uh-huh.
also just think that the concept of the character is dumb, taking a disorder about body modification and turning that into a villain, right? Vis-a-vis, what's his face is I don't remember his actual name, Tommy, whatever.
Tom Elliot, his
Thomas
real name,
Elliot,
you
Thomas
mean?
Elliot, Tom,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, uh, um, and I just don't know that he ever earned this position of being a rival to Batman. In my opinion, he just seems to be like thrown in there, and we're expected to believe that he has this close relationship with Batman. I mean, at least with Bane, he was just an absolute third party that
Hmm.
was working in the background and then ultimately executed this complicated plan that ended with Batman's backbreaking. But Hush, we're told that we're supposed to have some sort of an emotional connection to this villain
Hmm.
that we
Hmm.
don't. I mean, that I never developed, right? Just because you
Yeah.
tell me that I'm supposed to have an emotional connection to this character doesn't mean that I do. And I always kind of felt that way about Hush as a result. And so I
Hmm.
never really cared for it. I also think Jim Lee is a better artist than writer. Uh,
So was he the writer on it, or was he just the artist
I believe he
on
was
it?
the writer on it as well. Yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. All right.
Um, so our fan is saying the most hilarious villain is Eraserhead. Um,
His name sounds. I don't even know who that is, and I'm embarrassed to not know who that is. But
yeah,
maybe,
I've
yeah,
never heard of him. And Hush is the Riddler. I don't
yeah.
that they changed that then.
They did only for well, as far as I know, in the animated series, how Warner Brothers had their animation studio and they were starting to do a whole bunch of like Batman Year One stuff
Yeah,
like that. They
yeah,
did do that with Hush, and they completely just Thomas Elliott was not Hush in that. They actually made it the Riddler. So Riddler did get top billing, kinda, because he was Hush secretly. All those, it's a whole other thing. Spoilers, but yeah, the animated version of that's been out for a long time now. I think
Hmm.
it was really well animated, really well done. I thought it was an interesting take on Hush, but yeah, but it also kind of shows how how surface Hush was because somebody just put the Riddler there instead, and then it became more of an more significant because again Riddler's been around forever. It's like, oh my gosh, Riddler really did something crazy. But yeah, that kind of again that's the whole point is like all these other villains have been around for a while and they have so much
Hmm.
more history, so
Hmm.
much silliness and history with Batman that um, I find it more fun to see new takes on them. And I also feel like it'd be kind of nice just to see them do good old fashioned stories like with Scarecrow and the Long Halloween or something like that, where you don't have to have world ending events. Just kind
Hmm.
of do what they're good at,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's kind of fun too. But I think writers and artists kind of get stuck, like they feel like they need to make an impact right off the bat, kind of thing, like what Jim Lee did with Hush, for example.
Yeah, I do think that there is
Yeah.
that when a creator, whether it's a writer or an artist or both, take over a property that's been around for 80 years, I do think that there is a lot of pressure to leave their mark
Mm-hmm.
on that property. It's one of the reasons why it would be nice to see, independent comics like IDW and Vertigo, which is a DC imprint, I know, but it wasn't always a DC imprint, and a few of these other independent comics places where they're trying to create entirely new um, fictions and new characters. I think The Authority is one that I kind of liked for quite a while. The
Mm-hmm.
Midnighter is sort of a Batman surrogate, but in a slightly different way. And Apollo, I think, is his boyfriend. And there's a bunch of other characters. And then Wildcats from the 90s, which I think was
Mm-hmm.
Jim
Mm-hmm.
Lee. You
Yeah, that
know,
was Jim Lee's.
I wish that they would spend more time trying to create new characters and new fictions rather than shoehorning in on these characters that are 80 years old that for me have
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent lost their cultural relevance. I mean, Batman is obviously the exception because people continue to like the movies, and I think Tim Gunn's doing some interesting things with Superman, but um, it seems like it would be nice to start over rather than creating an increasingly convoluted and incomprehensible continuity for these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Here's the thing. So this this is purely corporate speak, but I think the reason why they don't want to do new is because nobody knows who they are. There's no
right.
history with a parent telling their kid, "Oh, I remember reading this as a kid," kind of a thing. Um, I feel like that's part of it is like trying to get something new. I even look at like work on Calamity Jane. Nobody knows who Calamity Jane is, but
Right.
we do, and
Yeah, sure.
that's
Sure, sure,
great.
sure.
Um, but how do you get people to? You need some sort of brand or something. I think to kind of help get eyeballs on it.
I
I
mean, I
would
think
think,
yeah, I mean it always
but
comes into the yeah, it always comes into the element of risk, right? No one wants to
yeah,
spend a lot of money on something that doesn't get any sort of a return. And there is a lot of creative safetyism, I feel like, in
yeah,
most entertainment industries, quite frankly. Some people are better at it than others. I think the real danger is what like what Marvel is doing right now, and what companies like Ubisoft and EA do, where they're just really phoning it in at this point. It's just turned into an assembly line. Yeah, that's where I think that the averseness to risk really rears its ugly head. But I don't, I guess I'm just looking for, maybe I'm just an old curmudgeon. I'm just tired of Batman. I'm tired of Superman. I'm tired
hmm
of Wolverine. I'd like to see new characters. I'd like to that don't have the same baggage that these characters have. Of
hmm
80 some odd years in some instances of different writers putting their mark on the characters.
hmm hmm
So I don't know. Like I said, old man shouting at clouds as usual. But it would be nice to see them go in a different direction for a change. And you're right. I don't know how they do that because to a large degree, comic books are just marketing for movies
yeah.
now. It feels like.
Sadly, yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. I mean,
Now,
here's an example though. For
yeah,
like, let me throw this one at you. And again, I'm an old man yelling clouds with you too, but I'm also trying to keep you, keep your blood pressure down. You don't have to worry about it too much, that kind of thing too. But for example, they tried doing this with Wolverine with his daughter X. What is it? X-22? I can't remember what her real name
X-23,
is.
yeah.
23, for example, right? I mean, that's a new Wolverine, but is she Wolverine? No, there's only one Logan.
Well,
That kind of thing. Like,
that's
what
the
do you
thing,
do?
right? Like it's not, it can't be an adaptation, it can't be an extension. It needs to be a clean break,
Brand
right?
new?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, I think X-23 is a perfect example. You can't escape Wolverine with X-23 because she's made from his DNA, and so how did they get Wolverine's DNA? And so then he's still kind of wrapped into the story. She can't
Yeah.
stand on her own because she, by association with Wolverine,
Mhm.
has all of the baggage that comes with that character.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so, again, I don't know really. What it'll take is some sort of a character that no one is expecting, or or a creator who does something crazy that gets people's attention outside of the mainstream. That's what always breaks the cycle, is someone doing something clever that finds an audience. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And it feels like, and again, this is our age, but I mean, the last time, the first example I could think of was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. When they came on the scene, they're brand new, no history. Um,
right?
but now
Yeah,
they're like a 40-year-old property now at this point,
yeah,
but I can't think of anything since then, really.
and Ninja
Um,
Turtles, like it's become a franchise now. It's
yeah.
it's not an independent comic anymore, and it's got the sort of the same baggage, not to the degree that Batman does, but it has a sort of the same baggage. I think the advantage that Ninja Turtles have is that no one is really trying to maintain a continuity for these characters. Um, Everything pretty much stands alone. Now, based on what our viewer was talking about with Absolute Batman, it seems like they're uh trying to take a whirl at that, a spin at that. It seems like the storylines are completely different and that they're fundamentally
hmm
changing the background of these characters. My
hmm
question then becomes, why does it have to be Batman then? And it's just pure safetyism at that point. It's just so
Yeah,
you can
it
keep the
is.
Batman logo on the comic book, because the idea of Joker being an outright demon, and the idea that Batman is rogues galleries all being friends when they were younger, it just, none of that says, like, none of that requires it to be the Batman property, you know.
hmm
um
hmm
our viewer is saying that Scarecrow is his favorite villain, because of how scary he
He's a
makes
good one.
everybody. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's again another classic. See, he to me gets top billing over Bane any day of the week. Scarecrow is way cooler. And here's a okay. I'm taking us off the trail a little bit,
No, go
but
for
the
it.
other thing I find fascinating about what I love enjoy about Batman is all of his villains, and I think this is all accidental. I think they just happen to luck into this. All of his villains pretty much represent a psyche or like a mental condition or anything or any kind of potential gap that Batman could fall into. He's about being scary. He's about scaring people too. Batman does that. He crazy or is he not? Because he wears a Batman suit, Joker. Is
Hmm.
he much more fascinating than all the other any other comic book character? I mean, and he's not my favorite, but he's always in the top five. I mean, I've always liked Wolverine, for example, the X-Men, all that stuff. But Batman's awesome because of this weird. As I grew older, I started like looking at all these weird parallels, these characters, and I think writers kind of picked up on that too. As we got past the 70s and when Frank Miller came on the scene, that's when they really started kind of going that direction and not campy and happy.
Right, when they,
Penguin,
yeah.
rich. Penguin's rich. Well, Batman's rich. It's
Right,
like so
right.
weird, right? I mean,
Yeah, no,
anyway.
I think the writers, and you're right. I don't think when most of these characters were created, it was with the intention of making them reflections, dark reflections of
Yeah.
Batman as a character. I agree with you, but I think some very good writers over the years have done that for for those characters, and I think it's why it makes Batman's rogues gallery
hmm
the most interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about this at length. It's like I've never really enjoyed the Spider-Man comic book. Partially, I like Spider-Man's powers. Those are really
hmm
cool. Um, but his rogues gallery is just dumb, right? The bad guys that he's fighting are just ridiculously stupid.
Oh man.
And I can never take any of them seriously. And even with the, Insomniac's Spider-Man game, where
Mhm.
they tried to do the Arkham Asylum treatment on it. Um, Sorry, our friend he's got a bail. He's finishing up some work. Um,
Cool.
just thanking him for joining us. Um, and he's our first time we've actually got a chance to chat with one of our fans, so it was great to have him
And
around
he's
and direct our conversation a little bit.
and he speaks our language. That's
Yeah,
always
absolutely,
helpful.
absolutely. But yeah, we'll do a shout out to Impactor Productions. He apparently does stop
Cool.
motion videos. I took a quick peek at his channel
Sweet.
while we were talking, and yeah, they're fun little they're fun little videos. Go check them
Cool.
out.
Keep
Yeah,
keep keep up the good work and keep
yeah,
on making stuff. Awesome.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm sorry, I say he, but I honestly don't know, so I
But yeah,
apologize.
yeah, he
They,
or she.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
they. Yeah, either way. But back to okay. So here's the thing with Spider-Man, and this is where this is. It's not as I don't think it has the same level of me with my anti-Captain America stuff. But man, I love Spider-Man. I love his rogues gallery because of the campy nature of them and how they
mm-hmm,
try to make them serious.
mm-hmm.
All that stuff. But I see what you're saying. But you can't take them seriously. It's absurd. I totally
Right,
get that.
right. But I
Yeah.
mean, and that would be fine if Spider-Man's story was as silly, but Spider-Man's story isn't. Like they paint Peter
Yeah.
Parker as this horribly tragic figure who has
Mm-hmm.
lost everybody in his life multiple times. I mean, how many times have they killed Aunt May? Um, okay, yeah, okay. Impactor Productions saying he's a guy. What girl would collect over 500 plus Transformers? I don't know, man. I'm not gonna tell anybody their
Yeah.
business. They
These
should like
days.
what they like. But anyway, thanks for
Yeah.
joining us and have a great night. Um, but yeah, I mean, they've killed off Aunt May, brought her back to life, killed off Mary Jane, brought her back to life. Poor Gwen Stacy's the only one who hasn't been
Yeah.
resurrected. Although at least,
Well, she
they
has.
gave her, they gave her Spider Gwen in an alternate
Yeah.
dimension, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just it's that like juxtaposition, that incongruity that always takes me out of it, is that Peter Parker is such a tragic figure, and then his rogues galleries are so campy and ridiculous that it's hard for me to like take what's happening to Peter seriously while the Green Goblin is throwing pumpkin bombs from his glider, right?
Yeah. But I mean, but it's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
I
my only.
mean that's
That's
enough.
my
I mean
counterbalance.
that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
I
I
mean,
mean,
uh, but see here, I wonder if it is. It has to do. I mean, I enjoyed what Green Goblin has done. I mean, not. I mean, as far as a villain is concerned, he's terrific. He's great. He's not the Joker, but he's done some tragic stuff to Peter. He's got the longevity. He's got the history. Sure, he has pumpkin bombs, but I mean, if we're using Batman as an example, I mean, does it? I mean, Penguin's got his umbrella machine gun. I mean, that's kind of it is kind of more. It does make more sense, I guess. Joker's got his playing cards, but he's just a nut job, but he looks
right,
silly. I
right.
mean, we couldn't we say the same thing for some of the Scarecrow's just downright scary. I
Yeah.
think he's actually kind of scary.
I
Bane's, is he
Yeah, he's a juicer.
yeah, he's a juicer.
I mean, but his backstory is pretty interesting though. The idea that he grew up
Yeah,
on this prison island,
mm-hmm.
and that kind of, I mean, like, Nolan, he did a decent job of adapting Bane's backstory to the purposes of his story, right? Like the idea of him
Uh-huh.
growing up on this prison island, almost like a Skinner box, him not knowing anything um, outside of exactly what he's been told, and then comes in the real world, and it changes his perceptions on reality, etc., etc., etc. And it's just the nature of how the character was tortured his whole life, and how this affects the trauma that he suffered and how it affects his character. I think there's interesting things going on with Bane, but I mean, you're right. I mean, I think comic books are silly by their nature, right?
Yeah,
But for whatever reason, and this is all opinions, right? But
yeah,
for
sure.
whatever reason, the Superman in his rogues gallery, I just don't
Yeah.
find as compelling and or believable as Batman in his rogues
Hmm.
gallery.
Yeah, 100% with you on Superman. Spider-Man is kind of fun to kind of go back and forth a little bit with it, but Superman. The problem with Superman is he's Superman. There's no villain that can really. I mean, you have to really write something to make it hard for him, you know. And they what do they typically? It feels like Brainiac is always the default. Like, I
Right,
think
right,
Brainiac's going to be
right.
the villain in the sequels to the
Yeah,
movies. I
that's
really
the
enjoyed.
rumor that I've
Yeah,
heard. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's all they got. That and
Hmm.
the green glowing kryptonite. It's all he got, and he's not. It's not
Well,
even a
magic
villain. And
too.
they.
They've retconned it so he's weak to magic as well.
Oh, that's new. I didn't know that. Okay. I think
Yeah.
they gave him one villain, Conduit, who uses kryptonite in his electrical whips or something. I don't think he's never what you would consider a rogues gallery Superman villain,
Right.
in my opinion. You know, um, but I think what's kind of funny is I think just as you and I kind of talk around and go on this weird villain safari, it really does come down to writing. Like maybe Spider-Man just hasn't had the right writers all these years to really
Yeah,
make something interesting and dark with the character.
it's
Because
possible.
maybe they are, but yeah, maybe they're by nature they are just too campy. Sandman, how do you make that dark? I mean, he's silly. I totally agree with you on that.
Rhino
You
is
know,
just a big guy in a rhino suit, you know.
but Green Goblin. See,
Hmm.
this is where I guess I disagree with a little bit. Green Goblin, yes, he throws pumpkin bombs, but they are kind of creepy looking. And that mask has that internal grin on his face, very similar to Joker. Not Joker, but it is kind of silly. And he's doing terrible things to Parker while with that eternal grin on his face. And then the whole kind of link with being his best friend's dad and all that kind of stuff. I think that all kind of ties in. And that's where the writing kind of shows through with him, for example, or Carnage. Although again, Carnage to me is a cheat code,
Yeah.
serum venom thing. He's a serial killer and he's got the venom suit, well, and that's it. He's kind of superficial. There's not much else to him, but he is by far one of the because of using that cheat code. He's a top villain along with Venom for Spider-Man. But Venom's much more interesting.
Hmm.
And these are all my opinions on that.
No, no, no. I mean, I think Venom is definitely a good villain. I think he was very cool and got overused as a result of his
Oh,
popularity.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Sadly.
but yeah, I see what you're saying. I do like, at least in the first two movies, I like the take that Sam Raimi put on Green Goblin and Doctor Octopus specifically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought that the relationships with Peter were interesting, and I love how they justified Green Goblin's powers and where they came from and why he has them. So, all of that I appreciated and enjoyed. But like, I mean, again, we're jumping back and forth between mediums here, but I thought that with the Arkham games, which is kind of where we started this evening, um, the team at Rocksteady and Paul Dini wrote the first two storylines. Um, they did such a good job of making those characters intimidating and legitimate threats against uh, Batman. But in the Spider-Man game, which I love, by the way, this
Mm-hmm.
no shade to the game. I had such a great time playing it. But maybe the writers weren't as good, I guess, possibly. But I just found all of the villains just really laughable
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not really intimidating whatsoever. To me, just felt like more like excuses for boss battles
Mm-hmm.
than any sort of compelling character that affected the motivations and the path towards progress for the hero, right?
Yeah. And with that one, I 100% agree too. I think, and again, now that I'm playing Arkham again, I'm appreciating how well made that game was.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel like Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man 1 and 2. I thought Spider-Man 2 was a little bit more of a drag and more grindy. And Spider-Man 1 was perfect, near perfect, but it wasn't Arkham Asylum or City
Hmm.
as far as a comic book game. There's something about Arkham Asylum where the way that they let you get the collectibles and it unlocks more lore and how you just enjoy it. They use the voice acting in it is terrific. The mood, the setting of it, it's just something about it that just kind of carries through it and doesn't get stale. But then we have Arkham Knight. which I think, I don't know, you and I probably would agree is probably the weakest out of all three of them.
Yeah, I mean, when it's working, it's great because it's using the same mechanics, the same foundational things that made the first two games so good. But it got so bogged down in the Batmobile and,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I don't know, I don't know. It's I think everybody has an opinion, and as the old saying goes, so it probably smells.
Yes, there's plenty of options on
Yeah.
that saying, but yes, definitely smells for sure.
But yeah, I mean, this is a side. Steam, I guess, is doing. I don't know why, but I just happened to check Steam on my wish list, and
Hmm.
a bunch of Xbox and PlayStation ports are on huge sales right now.
Okay,
And one of the ones I picked up was Spider-Man Miles Morales was 60% off, so I picked that up for like
so what'd you get it for?
$20.
That is a
So
great deal.
yeah,
That's what I got it for. Miles Morales is a great game.
I've heard it's great.
It's
So
Yeah, it's good. It's actually, if I was to rank them, it goes Spider-Man, Miles Morales is right there, and Spider-Man 2. It's really in order. Um,
mm-hmm,
they're all good.
mm-hmm,
Miles Morales is good because if you enjoy Miles Morales in that version of Spider-Man, it's great. It's really fun. I always felt like, there's a whole other stream. Miles Morales versus Peter Parker. Miles Morales is, I think, a little bit OP
mm-hmm.
in my opinion. He's a little bit more. He's got a lot more luxuries going on. Now I don't know about his personal life in the comic books and all that stuff. I don't know what's going on there. Really, I only played the games for the most part and watched the movies. But he's a really likable character. I think they really. I don't know. They almost struck gold with him, with the writing and the art and the
Yeah.
design to get
Trying to
another Spider-Man updated.
I'm trying to see here. Who created Miles? I think I know who it is, and it's you got to give props. Yeah, that's what I thought. Brian Michael Bendis, one of my least favorite comic book writers. He did
Because
create
he's too
Miles
dark.
Morales,
Because he's
and
always too dark, right? He's always angsty. Is that why you don't like him?
no, I just don't think he's a good writer.
Okay, all
I
right. He's the one. Didn't he write Preacher and stuff like that?
No, that was Preacher. I think was who wrote Preacher. I'm just gonna look it up.
Yeah, I might. I get it mixed up with
Yeah, it was
another
Garth
writer around
Ennis.
that
Yeah,
era.
Garth Ennis did
Garth
Preacher.
Ennis. Garth Ennis is the one I'm getting mixed.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
always get
yeah.
it mixed up with Michael Bendis for some reason. Anyways, but
Ennis
yeah,
is a
okay,
good
that's
writer.
funny.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so no, like Bendis did like Secret Invasion, and he created
Uh
Jessica
huh.
Jones, and I think he created Spider Gwen too. So he creates interesting characters, but he has the same problem that I find Robert Kirkman and Vaughn, the guy who did Fable and Brian K. Vaughan, they monologue too much, and
Okay.
there are whole pages where there's more text than there is art, and I'm like, okay, that's great, go write a novel,
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Yeah.
this is a comic book. Everything needs to be short, snappy, quick, because what I'm really here for is to let the pictures tell the story,
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
and so yeah, he's just sort of in that same camp of writer that they're frustrated novel writers, and I just wish they would
Mhm.
go and write a novel instead of comic books,
Yeah. Yeah.
um but that's my jaded old man opinion.
Yeah. Well, he struck gold with Miles, though. He's a great character, great person for Spider-Man for the baton parallel run together because I think they're both equally good. They're both fun. Although Miles Morales' villains gallery, I don't know if it's, it just takes time. I don't think he's up there with Peter Parker,
Hmm.
with his gallery, whether they're campy or not. I can't even name one. I can't even name one villain
No,
for
I don't.
him for Miles right now.
I don't remember if the characters that he interacts with in the movies are from the comic books. I presume that they probably are, but the his arch villain, who also I guess is his uncle in the movie,
Yeah. Prowler. Yeah.
the Prowler. Thank you. I thought that was a pretty
Hmm.
decent character with a good
Yeah, he
relationship
was. He was good.
with Miles.
Hmm. Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, I mean, at this point, uh,
we've been going for a good
I think
45 minutes, so
yeah, I think we're in a pretty good place to stop. And I have managed to get Calamity Jane for the most part laid out for shot 16. There's one little thing here for dialogue. I think make the mouth pack work for that. But everything else is kind of coming along here. I need to, again, I still need to get tinsel rendered out to put in there, and then also get the warhogs in the background. I can do that, but that might take some little bit of finagling. But for the most part, imagine the motorbike here, and that's the scene for the most part.
All right.
And the Dry Gulp Gorge is about to get hit.
All
Unless she
right.
does something
Unless she does
heroic.
something. That's right.
Yeah.
Time to be a
But
hero.
cool.
Well, anyway, so we'll call it there. So please consider heading over to calamityjane.rocks. That'll take you to our Patreon site, and you can become a subscriber and help us make this cartoon a reality. We're also on Facebook and YouTube, which presumably you already know since you're watching this stream. And we also have an Instagram at Calamity Jane Salamander, where we do updates. So we update on all the things. So any of the main social medias that you prefer to peruse, you'll get an update from us. But I think we'll go ahead and call it there. We'll be back next week, same Calamity time, same Calamity channel. Until then, good night, everybody. Stay safe out there.
Good night.